All right, it's five after the baby. Are we ready to rock and roll?
Sounds great to me. Thanks, everybody. Awesome. We got a few more people join us today. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today for the Financial Literacy Series presented by Jasper Smith. We'll go ahead and get started. There we go. Hence his shirt. We'll go ahead and get started.
All right. So I want to thank everybody just for showing up. So just like last time, Davina, we're Occur is doing some great work, and we're doing our part to try to, I'll say, better educate our communities, and in an effort to help us all kind of move forward with our respective, I'll say, financial plans, if you will. So I know tonight's topic is your mood and your money, and so we're gonna get into it. I got some good stuff I've prepared ahead of time, but I also want to make sure that this session is, as always, kind of like a conversation. I have a very short deck that I'll go through that'll kind of help guide me and guide our conversation tonight. But again, just can't thank you all enough for showing up and engaging us in this dialogue, because again, I always hope that everybody just shows up. There's so many people who probably should be here who are not, and so for all of you who have decided to join us, I would just encourage you to tell somebody, like, hey, you should join. Like, it's that personal touch is what sometimes gets people to show up, and I hope that we all continue to do our part to try to help. That's all we can do. We can do our part, and then we go from there. There's not more. There's more we all could do, but I think we all kind of have, we have a life, we have priorities, and sometimes we gotta start at home. And so that's what I want this conversation to be about tonight is, you and your mood, and how your mood and your emotions, it affects how you do things, how you spend, and we're gonna get into it here. So I'm quickly pull up my presentation deck here. Give me 1 second to share my screen. And again, as we go through, if you have any questions as we're going along, or when I when I ask a question, if you don't want to respond by just unmuting yourself, which you're more than welcome to do, we can keep this like, like we were in a room having a discussion. Or if you're not comfortable kind of just speaking, feel free to punch your question, or if you have a comment or something, feel free to leverage the chat. So just want to again remind you that this is hopefully going to be an interactive session, because if I get to talking, I get tired of hearing my own voice. So so I would love for you all to engage me in some dialogue around your mood and your money. So as we start off, again, my name is, for those who don't know, my name is Jasper Smith. I am the founder of a financial empowerment movement called the Build Wealth Movement. And my mission is, I think it's simple, but y'all can let me know. I tried to boil it down into 3 words. I'm working to disrupt generational poverty. 3 words. I try to keep it as simple as I could, but I think about all the problems that plague, underserved communities in this country. And I know it's become popular to talk about generational wealth and all the riches, and getting wealthy. And I agree with the sentiment. However, when I look at just the results, we're not getting them. When you look at the data, when you look at certain communities, you'll find the same groups at the bottom of certain lists, and you will find those same groups at the tops of lists where you shouldn't want to be at the top of. And I'll leave it at that. And so my efforts, anytime I'm speaking, is I got to disrupt it. There's something that's happening with the way people are thinking, the way they're feeling, which we're going to talk about a lot more tonight. But it's causing this generational poverty thing. It's, well, you didn't get it right, but you didn't tell the next generation how to correct it. Or you were too embarrassed to admit that you didn't do some things right, and you don't try to help the next generation avoid the same pitfalls that you did. And so what happens is the cycle continues. And if you need an example, just gosh, certain neighborhoods just never seem to look any better. They look bad when you were young, and they still look just as bad. Like, there hasn't been a lot of movement or improvement, and there's a reason as to why that is. You can, and this is all across the country. I mean, you can type in a zip code and gain a good understanding of people's health, their level of education, their financial situation, and it's really indicative of like a number. Where you live matters. There is no secret. So I've done some extensive research over my time in the industry, and again, everything that I'm working to do is I got to disrupt this way of thinking, because I know that if we can disrupt generational poverty, then more people can live a more prosperous life. Everybody doesn't necessarily need all the millions of dollars in the world. It could be helpful, but some of us just want to be comfortable. But I want that comfort to be a number, if you will, right? We got to think about that, what we're doing financially and how we're leading our lives. It's telling a story, and hopefully that story is a positive one. And if it's not, I want you to think about, well, what would you change? What would you want to do? How would you want it to look? When I'm long gone, I've kind of already been thinking about what I want to have happen, for my family. Hey, what can I do to make it a little bit better for that next generation? So I'll get off my soapbox for the moment. But this is what I'm working on. I tell people I'm a financial planner, advisor, coach, counselor, financial therapist. Like, I use all these loose terms, but no matter how somebody classifies what I do, this is my mission. This is what I'm working on. I'm going to disrupt something. And it's all for the sake of you and perhaps your family and future generations. So tonight we're gonna talk about emotions, and we're gonna talk about the way you feel impacts the way you spend. So tonight's conversation is more around the emotional side of, I'll say, financial planning, and how our emotions affect and influence our decisions. So I'll start with a few images, and we'll take our time and we'll spend a few minutes here. So you have quite a few influences. I'm gonna start at the top left, and I'll work my way all the way around, and we'll start with the media. I wish you the best. There's a lot of information, and that information can put you in a mood. It can set the tone for a day, a week, a lifetime, and it as all of you know is it's a 24/7 cycle. And whatever news station or platform, whether it's the radio, whether it's internet, whether it's magazines, I mean, all of these things really have a big impact on our overall well-being. And I think about just the internet itself. Whatever you're looking for, you can find it. So if you are in a certain mood, you will find stuff on the internet that is right in alignment with how you're feeling. If you think about radio and TV, depending on what stations you may subscribe to or listen to or watch, then you're getting the same type of programming over and over. So think about what you listen to. Is it news? Is it music? Is it whatever it is? Just think about all the stuff that has an impact on how you feel. Like, especially with music. Like, when I know I need to get through a workout, I need some upbeat music. I don't want to listen to jazz or classical or anything like that. I need something a little up tempo, so that it affects my mood when I'm exercising. TV. I love joking, but my mom, I think she watches the news morning, noon, and night. So if I need to know what's going on in the world, I can ask her. But also, I hear her response and reaction to the news. And I told her, I was like, Mom, do you see, like, you're being influenced by watching the news 3 times a day? Not much change from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, except maybe the weather. And y'all know the news. It's weather, local stories, some crime stuff, sports. And it runs the cycle. Then national news will have the headlines, and they just run it into the dirt. But that starts to affect how you feel throughout your day. So if it's all negative news, so We think about all the racial tension that's happening with the Asian community, with the Black Lives Matter stuff. Just consume that stuff all day long and just watch how it plays on how you get through your day. It starts to weigh you down. With magazines, newspapers, again, the images you're viewing consistently, all that begins to play on your feelings or emotions. So I have a cousin. She's into fashion, and so she was always subscribing, or she's into like the fashion magazines, and it plays in how she runs her life because she always wants to look like the people in the picture. So her financial decisions are influenced by people she'll never meet, but she's consistently consuming the content. So therefore, she feels like I have to look a certain way. I have to support certain brands. So you can see how all this kind of plays on the subconscious, just all the stuff you're putting in. But with media, it's maybe the toughest thing for most of us to do. You can shut it off. Did y'all know that? Did you know you don't have to watch the news or listen to it? Somebody's like, nah, I gotta know what's going on. I gotta know what's going on out here in these streets. No, no, you don't. Because somebody's always consuming it and you can just ask that person. So I know we feel like we need to know, but you really don't. Because I've been there. I've been influenced by stuff and it just made me feel bad or got me overly excited. It'll stimulate you somehow, some way. So the cell phone, everybody seems to be on it. And I don't care how old you are, you're on the phone most times or some device. And again, what type of apps are you using? Is it primarily social media? Then okay, then that's gosh, I don't even want to get into social media, but that's that is another whole can of worms, right? Just the stuff we're seeing and feeding ourselves. And I know I'm guilty of this. I'm on my phone all day. My phone's right here. One of them, the other one's in the room charging up. And so it's like, oh, I gotta talk. Let me make I don't need to look at my phone during this session. But we're in those small little checkups. I'm checking in to see what are you checking on? Is it really that important? Maybe, maybe not. So I put the phone on there as a reference. So I'll tackle the one the two the fur babies, Mrs. Mittens and Fido. Your pets. So look, here's why I brought this in. I was laughing when I put these images on here, but you know, some people don't have children, but these fur babies become their children. And I understand that when your pet gets hurt or sick, it's just like a kid. And I've had people say, oh, my dog got into it at the park today, got to take him to the vet, got to take him to someplace. And that was an unplanned expense, kind of like kids, right? And we're going to get the kids in a second, but it's the same thing. It's like you didn't expect something to happen to your pet and then it did. And now you have to alter your day. So you could have been in a great mood, got the call or you got home and saw your animal was hurt. You're like, well, now I'm sad. I'm sad that my pet is now feeling pain. So you start to internalize these things. So your pets have an influence. The children, look, they're great. That's what I hear. People love their kids. And then on the next sentence, they say, and my kids also stress me out. And I don't care if they're adults. I just put little kids. I didn't put babies. I mean, kids stress you out, but we love them. So your family, and I could go on around your relationships, your family, but just all of these things play into like how we spend money, how we invest or don't invest. And so we don't think about most of these things. And that's why I wanted to kind of take my time and look at all these different influences because you're not thinking about this. It's just you go through a day and subconsciously things are happening and then you're responding. And so the last one I have is the weather. Lord knows I love a nice sunny day. It's great. Makes you want to get outside and play loud music and drive around the window. I mean, it just makes you want to be out and about. But I have people who love like a nice, cloudy, rainy type of day because they want to be inside in a blanket watching a movie. So the weather, I love waking up and opening up my blinds. It makes me feel great getting natural light. Don't know about y'all, but I hate waking up when people don't open the blinds. I go crazy. And it's my mama's fault because she does it. So so growing up, you wake up, she's not saying get up, just blinds are open, lights coming in. You can't really sleep good with natural light. So I think about how the weather itself influences my mood when I get up in the morning. So when I don't open the blinds, it makes me just want to lay in the bed. but maybe I should have been productive for that extra hour as opposed to just laying there. So all of these influences play on us all day. We can't get away from these things. It's just we have to recognize that they exist. And then we have to recognize like what we're doing from a financial standpoint as a result of these influences. So for this talk, I want to really dive a little bit deeper into like I'll say four primary emotions, and I'll give you a bonus one because I just literally thought about it like right before I logged on, and I just kind of added it because it's kind of funny to me, but it's real life, like it happens to all of us. But there's really four main ones, and I'll walk through each one. And again, feel free to interrupt me at any time if you have a question or comment, or if you're like, I agree, or something like that. If you want to give me an amen, brother, like I feel you. I mean, whatever. I love these things to be interactive, but I never want to shy away from having some discussion and not just going straight through the deck. But we will keep this show on the road. So when you're feeling happy, these people look happy, I would say. They smiling, must be having a good day. And happiness, it makes us spend money in hopes of increasing or like continuing this state of happiness. Now we know that this can be a problem because when you're feeling good, you might just make some impulse purchases. And how do I know? Just happened a couple weeks ago. It was my fiance's birthday, and we were celebrating. And we were out having food and drinks. And then I realized, like, you know what? We're celebrating her, and I keep going to the bar. I keep ordering more food. And as more people came, they started ordering more drinks and food. So we're all just happy. And then you get that bill. And then you're like, woo, look at how much we paid for all this fun. But we felt good, right? So it kind of it went hand in hand. We feeling good. We're just gonna keep buying just because we're out and about. It was a nice day outside. But what happens is what this sometimes can do is lead to like sadness and fear and anxiety because when people are happy, you're not thinking right. You're just in this state of almost euphoria. And then when that euphoria runs or wears off, the opposite happens. So then you kind of feel guilty. Like we had a good time at her birthday celebration. Now I didn't feel guilty after this day, but in the past I have felt guilty. Like I was like, oh, I spent way too much money. But then you kind of think about, well, we had a good time, but you weren't thinking about when you got that check at the end of the day or end of the night. And so when you're in this state of feeling happy and you just feel, we're in good spirits, think about this is going to be hard for a lot of us. You want to budget your fun. It's going to be hard. I usually fail at it. If there's anybody on here who has ever succeeded with planning or budgeting for fun, please speak now. Because I find it to be one of the toughest things is to say no when you're feeling good and you want to have a good time. But if you have uh, if you have this ability, please let me know because I'm still a work in progress. So hopefully I can improve. But it's hard when you're having a good time to say I'm gonna budget my fun because just a few dollars more, we can have a different experience while we're out having fun. Somebody's like, "Yep, happened to me this past weekend," and y'all know. And this is here's the happy thing I want to talk about too. The pandemic has caused all of us. We've just been feeling trapped, and people are ready to get out. People getting vaccinated, not getting vaccinated, wearing a mask, not wearing a mask. People just ready to get outside. So I think this is like the perfect time to have this type of discussion around happiness because everybody's ready to get out. So think about like how you will need to conduct yourself when you do get out. So if you're gonna plan some trips, start now. Hopefully the trips aren't this weekend, but I know Memorial Day is coming up. It's summertime, summer vacations. The kids are out of school, the grandkids are out of school, so it's gonna be tough, y'all. Hold on, okay. Okay, you're right. Yeah, always go overboard. It's hard to have restraint when you're having a good time. And I think with the world slowly beginning to open up, and I'm bit, there are areas in the country where you would have thought there was no COVID. But other areas that they slowly begin to open up, more and more people will be out having a good time. And I just want you to be mindful and understand that good time has a price. It can be very expensive, just so y'all know. But I think the pandemic very really helped out. And if you need kind of a, well, how do I get around this? Try the 24-hour rule. I always bring it up when I'm talking about impulse purchasing. You feeling if you're in a really good mood, just know you can wait. Maybe, maybe. If I'm not gonna budget my fun, at least think a little bit more about it. And maybe you still have fun, but you don't do as much as you initially thought you should do. And maybe this waiting for 24 hours. If you still feel the exact same way 24 hours from the moment this feeling comes across you, okay, you waited a whole day, do it. But most people, if you wait 24 hours, you're not going to feel exactly the same. But if you do, I'm not going to fault you. You're in a good mood. Just don't put yourself in a bind. Look, y'all know I'm not good at spending money. Like I like spending money too, but just think about we never think about the alternative. I'm too happy. I'm having fun. Just wait a little while. See if that changes what happens going forward. All right. So let's talk about feeling sad. So y'all know buying stuff makes you feel better. Some people will say retail therapy is a real thing. I actually used to joke way back when I was a young advisor, a young planner, and people say, "Oh man, when I'm not feeling good, I go shopping." I was like, "For real? That's a thing?" And I never knew it was like a real. I never knew there was a phrase for it. And so I kept hearing this over and over. People like when I'm in a bad mood or had a rough day, I go shopping, or I go to a fancy restaurant, like or I get my favorite bottle of wine or whatever it is. It was just, oh, this is a real thing. So retail therapy, I don't even joke anymore. Look, it's a problem. Look, stop. But you're not gonna stop overnight. But try your best to recognize that when you're feeling a certain way, and if it's sad, might not be doing yourself a favor by making purchases because the feeling of buying something is temporary. Maybe it doesn't solve the issue, solve the problem. So we get that in kind of the initial boost of happiness and then it fades. So here's an idea. If you're feeling, I'll say, if you're feeling sad, don't have any shopping apps on your phone. Don't go to Amazon. If it's a shortcut, just go ahead and delete the shortcut. Just delete it. Like, don't do it. Because if you see it, you're gonna start scrolling and you're gonna find something to make you feel better. If you're on a lot of retailers have subscriptions or you get the emails, unsubscribe. It's an easy way because the day you're feeling down, I guarantee you're gonna get an email from that company that you always love supporting. And they're gonna have a sale. And then you're gonna say, well, I'm feeling bad and I got this email, they're having a sale. Done. So this has happened to a lot of my clients, y'all. I don't feel sad and go shopping, but I heard these stories. It's just take this stuff off the table. Unsubscribe from things. Don't go online. Maybe you shouldn't watch certain shows. Just you know you. You know you. And another way, and this is kind of out there too, if you're not in the best of moods and you're out, an easy way to curb some of the spending is to only have cash. So if you have a debit card or a credit card and you're not feeling, you're feeling like the folks on this slide here, it might get out of hand. So maybe holding or carrying cash if you do have to be out and about, maybe that helps to limit some of the spending that you do. But we know when you're not happy and you're feeling sad, you're trying to almost buy, in a sense, your happiness. Okay, so be mindful of when you're feeling sad. Ooh, feeling jealous. All right, so here's what I think about. I think about keeping up with the Joneses. This is what jealousy. When I think about my emotions and how they play into my spending, this is you trying to keep up with somebody who may or may not be important to your life. I think this is why I mentioned like social media a little bit earlier, because we're getting all these images, and so we almost feel like, well, why they got it? I should have it. You know, we're always comparing, and sometimes that causes us to go do stuff. So if you're trying to look like the person in the magazine, I wish you the best, because that's their profession. Like, they probably didn't even pay for the clothes. They didn't pay for the makeup. The makeup was done so they could do the photo shoot. But you're not a model. You're not an actress. You're not an actor. You know, it can be challenging for you because you feel like, I should be looking like that. And that causes some issues. So if you're trying to impress other people for, your own satisfaction, take a look at that. Take a look at your accounts. Is you trying to keep up with somebody else or impress somebody else cause you not to have as much money as you should in your bank accounts? If we're spending a lot of time thinking about our um, our image, is that helping to increase our investment accounts, retirement accounts, savings? Is it doing those other things? So be mindful. If you don't believe you make decisions based off of jealousy, ask a close friend or family member. They'll tell you the truth. Man, you always do this when this happens. Or girl, you always do this when this happens. If they know you. So it's gonna be a tough one to like deal with, but it's the truth. If they really love you, they're just gonna tell you. It's okay. Just take it on. It's okay. It'll pass. And then the last thing I think about jealousy, I think about, again, there is maybe nothing that's standing in between you and making this. Maybe it's an impulse purchase, a purchase that's well above your means. This is where you may need this financial advisor planner to kind of help interrupt you. And so, actually, just yesterday, one of my mentors was telling me, he was like, my job, I took it. I told him I was going to use it. I said, my job, this is what he says to his clients, is to get in between you and your emotions so you can make better financial decisions. So if you're struggling trying to keep up with, again, the Joneses or whoever, maybe you need somebody to intervene. Just thought, because then you're not just making these decisions on your own. And so that's what I find that happens a lot, is when we're left to our own, devices, we just don't sometimes make the right choice. And even when we do make the right choice, maybe we're just making too many bad choices. So you have this kind of compounding effect of you're always trying to keep up, always trying to be at the restaurant, always trying to be at the party. Like, I think this is a real issue. I think too, as the world opens up, oh, people are already jealous for people who apply traveling, and you haven't traveled. So one of my friends, she was like, I can't even go to Mexico. And I was like, yeah, you can. Get vaccinated, be safe before. But so many people were taking trips before all the vaccines were being distributed or administered. And so I think this is a really good time for you to kind of think about, am I going to let these other people who I may or may not know influence my financial decision making? So just, check yourself at the door. All right. And then the last one, well, this is one of the main four, and I'll give you a bonus one after this, is this is the fear. Fear is a big one. What we tend to do with being afraid or fearful is we tend to exaggerate the risk of something as opposed to discounting them. And I think the best example is like investing in the stock market. To this day, people are still afraid of oh, well, when the market goes down or when that stock goes down, I'm just going to lose all my money. Well, it's a possibility. But did we think about the upside potential when that stock or that investment goes up? So if we're always afraid of not making money, or excuse me, if we're always afraid of losing money, then we can never be focused on how to earn more or how to put our money in a better place to where maybe you limit the risk and you can still get some a return to your liking. But sometimes we're just so afraid to even make the decision to do it, and we miss out on opportunities. We again got to think about the risk. And for people who are afraid, like I have clients who all their money is in a bank or a credit union or a high yield money market CD type of thing. And my only question is, what's the goal for this money? That's the question I ask everybody. Like, why are you sitting with so much cash? What are you about to do? Do you have enough for your emergency fund? Great, check that off. Do you know? Do you have any interest in like making an investment relatively soon? And soon could mean a month, 3 months, 6 months, somewhere I know where the money needs to be liquid. So I'm okay if you having cash on hand for that. Is it, I have an investment account, but I haven't placed a trade. So what I mean by that is I have money in an investment account, but it hasn't been like put into the market. And so maybe there's some fear there. You got the account open, place a trade, buy something. And if you're not buying it, just tell me. I want to know the alternative. So if you're too afraid to make decisions, sometimes it ends up hurting you. I think risk, there's a continuum. I have a checking account because I need to pay bills. I'm not risking that money. I have retirement accounts because I know the 65-year-old Jasper would like to have a lot of money. And then you have everything in between. So as you look at your various accounts, think about the risk that you're taking, and are you doing yourself a favor by not being as risky, or could you afford to be a little bit more risky? Because the proof is in the numbers. Has it performed? Last year, the pandemic, it hit hard. So you had the first, what, through March or April, it was bad, and then it turned all the way around, and you had all these companies still making money, still in business. People were still employed. Yes, people were, losing jobs, and we know it was bad on the surface. But if we remember that media influence from the first one, some of y'all got sucked into this. Oh, it's bad, and yet everybody's over here making money. Or I should say, a lot of people were making money while the rest of the world was being, uh, what I'm looking for, they were being almost distracted. We just keep telling you it's bad, and then you're going to believe it, and then you're not going to do anything. So it's that fear that sometimes the media pushes on you to make you feel more fearful about making a decision. So when you're scared, just be mindful that the fear will subside when you try to do something different. And maybe that something different is just getting more educated on whatever it is you're looking into. That fear will subside. You'll never know 100% about anything. It's not a sure bet, but I will bet on you in terms of you having the ability to take a chance. And yes, we understand that in life you've taken chances and maybe it didn't work out. So what? You're still alive. Let's keep going. Chalk it up as a learning experience. That's how you look at investing and where you put your money. It's just the fear subsides if you keep at it. All right. So the bonus one is, are you feeling hungry? So I had to throw this one in here because we were talking about mood and money, and this literally just happened yesterday. So I was on a meeting and I said, hey, I have to finish up at the top of the hour, and then I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to the grocery store. So my colleague says, well, why don't you just go get your groceries first and go eat? And I was like, wrong, because I'm hungry. Like when you're hungry, please, this is just a budgeting tip. Don't go to the grocery store hungry. Don't go any when you hungry, don't go to the grocery store. And if you don't believe me, try it and then send me a note and say it didn't work, because it never works. I have tried multiple times and I failed every time. Look, if you go to the grocery store hungry, you will buy stuff that you didn't plan on buying, because most of y'all probably don't make a grocery list, because I know I didn't at the time. So I'm just walking up and down the aisles and I'm like, yep, that looks good. That looks good. And then where it really got bad was the frozen food aisle. Because when you're hungry, your brain is telling you, like, look at that picture and it looks delicious. It doesn't matter how you prepare that meal, it will not look like the box. But I was so hungry, and I'm like, oh God, it looks so good. It just, please, if you are feeling hungry, that has a profound impact on your spending when you go to the grocery store. I threw that one in as a bonus because it's still the biggest one I see people do is that I'm hungry. Eat. Do not go grocery shopping. So I went to dinner first. I was full. I was satisfied. I was able to do my grocery shopping in my right mind. Because the reason I shared this one, I know people laugh, but it's like it's all you're one complete unit. Everything is connected. You think a certain way, you feel a certain way, and then your actions are a result of those other two things I just mentioned. I think, I feel a certain way, my emotions, I think and feel a certain way, so therefore I act or I don't. And so I throw this one in here as yeah, I feel hungry. I should not go to the grocery store. If y'all don't believe me, actually, has anybody gone to the grocery store hungry? Give me you can unmute and say, yeah, you can give me a just put
Yes.
up, okay, perfect. All right. Was anybody successful in not spending more than they should have when you were hungry and went to the grocery store? Yeah, it's never, yeah, every time I've tried, I fail. And what's funny is I sat through a session and that's why I went and tried it out. It was some young lady was talking about it. Oh, well, don't go hungry. I was like, what is she crazy? She don't know what she's talking. I'm grown. And I literally did. Oh, I did it. I went to the far ends of the earth with this test. So I worked out and I worked out for like an hour and a half. So I'm really hungry. And I was like, I'm gonna go grocery shopping. And that's when that experience I just explained earlier happened to me. And I was like, well, she was right. And from that day forward, just get a snack. You ain't gotta have them. Just get a snack. Because if you don't get the snack before, you're gonna buy the snack in there. I've done it. I didn't eat a snack and I started eating the fruit. And I wasn't one of those like I'm just seeing if this is a good batch of grapes. Like I was in there like ow, 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 and then I stuffed and put another bag on top and walked on because I was like I'm hungry. So I bought enough food that day so I didn't feel guilty for eating them grapes. All right. So don't go to the grocery store hungry. All right. So some food for thought. Let's bring this baby on home. So first thing, first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem. Hard for a lot of people to get comfortable with this statement. This is like the Alcoholics Anonymous line. Like just admit that when you're not in a certain, or not even admit, just recognize when you're in a certain emotional state, you do certain things by way of spending or by way of not taking action, which you think about investments. When you're too afraid, you don't do it. So just admit it. And that's the very first step as you think about how your mood affects your money. It's just if you can recognize the problem and admit it, then you can move forward. I don't know what step number 2 is for you personally, but if you do the first one, probably helped you out. Just if you can admit that first one, just hey, every time I'm sad, I buy some shoes. Every time I'm sad, I buy a hat. One of my guys, he was in like fitted baseball caps, and he was like, "Man, I'm having a bad day. I go to the store." I was like, "What?" And that was his thing. So I was like, "Dude, you got a problem?" He's like, "No, I don't." I was like, "You have 50 hats. 50 hats." I was like, "You probably gonna have 100 before the end of the year." And so I got him to say it. So just admit, we got some things to work on. So next is nobody gets it right 100% of the time. Give yourself some grace. I've already confessed to y'all tonight, so I ain't perfect. I'm a financial planner. I'm just as human as y'all. Just as human. Just as human. You are not perfect. I know we all trying, but Lord knows we don't know what perfection looks like, what we keep trying to shoot for. So just, we're not going to get it right every time, and you've got to be okay with that. But have a plan on figuring out how you can still move forward with your financial planning and know that it's never going to be 100%. Keep a record. So maybe it's a journal, maybe you do post-it notes, maybe you have a whiteboard somewhere, maybe it's just notes in your phone. Keep a record. Like this is the easiest way to make the assessment is when you see the data. The data doesn't lie. And if you got to get, intense, date it. Hey, this is the date, the time. Maybe it's your time of day. I don't like doing talks in the morning because I don't sound as great like vocally. I'm a little nasally sometimes in the morning. Like I don't sound sexy, okay? So I don't like doing stuff in the morning. Not on the phone. I'll do emails all day. If we're on a Zoom, I'm gonna cut the camera off. So time of day may matter. Maybe you're a night person. So maybe you get going like all these things. I'm telling y'all, it matters. Because if you're a morning person, you like going to breakfast and brunch with your friends, hey, let's get we doing bottomless mimosas. So you got to keep a record of these things. You'll start to see the pattern, and this is how you move past it. So you've admitted it. You're not perfect, but now there's like a record. You're like, oh, yep, there it is, and you're just gonna laugh because that's what you got to do. Just laugh when you see it happening. When somebody tells it to you, you're just gonna laugh. You're like, yep, you're right. And the last one, you got to ask yourself one question: do I want to do better? That's what you have to ask yourself. If you don't want to do better, that's fine. I'm gonna keep saying you grown, you'll figure it out. But do you want to do better? It's not going to. It's never gonna be perfect, but if we can acknowledge these things and kind of laugh at them and understand how we react and respond, it gets easier for you. It gets easier. And if you have a significant other, he or she is in full agreement that you do these things. So as soon as you come at them and say, "Do I?" They'll say, "Yep," and you almost gonna be offended when they say it. So my lady gets mad when I call her out, and I'm like, "You know what you do?" "I do." "No, I don't." And I've done the same thing. I was like, "Ooh, she caught me." Ooh, can't be a hypocrite, y'all. I mean, I've done stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I did this on purpose, and I'll acknowledge that. I have problems too. I got issues. Just embrace them. We keep running from these things in our emotions. Just embrace them. Look, man, everybody needs therapy. I don't care if you believe in it or not, but you need somebody to talk to and to get stuff off your chest, get it off your mind. Like you need somebody because most of us we can't do it by. It's just too much. You cannot do it by yourself. It's just too challenging. So when I started assessing myself, I was like, "Ooh, I do the same stuff when I'm having fun. I do this. When I'm feeling bad, I do this. This time of day, I do that." And I'm like, "Ooh, that's a problem." But I asked myself that last question. I was like, I closed my eyes and I said, "Jasper, you need to do better. Don't you want to do better, Jasper?" And yes, I talk to myself in third, like whatever you gotta do. But so you have got to ask it, do you want to do better? Because if you don't, I'm just gonna love you from afar because you've made your decision. But I think most of us want to do better and just keep trying. And it's not too late for anybody. So don't say, "Oh, I'm too old," or I don't have this degree, or I don't have this kind of money. That's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. You're making an excuse as to why you can't do better or you won't even try. If you believe you won't, I guarantee you will not. Guaranteed. You keep telling yourself you don't or can't do better, you won't do better. I at least believe I can do better because I want to do better. So I know it's an incremental process of I'll figure it out, and maybe with some help in addition to me, because I myself have just said, you know what, I can't do all this stuff by myself. I'm tired. I'm tired. Got too much going on. So that actually concludes my presentation deck. And oh, I saw the post. I believe if you were, oh, this is about the book. So yeah, if you were I think the first 20 to register, or I guess they're doing it now. So hit that link and claim your book, which is my book that I wrote, the Build Wealth Challenge. So it's a book that it's going to challenge the way you think and feel about money. There are 8 challenge questions, and I just want you to answer them truthfully. That's all I want you to do. It's an easy read. It's nothing over your head. It's kind of straightforward to the point. It'll take you maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes tops to kind of just sink into it. And it'll get you thinking. If it's too much or if it overwhelms you, stop. Answer one question and then put it down. Just like any other book. just open it, soak it in, and if you got any questions or feedback from the book, I'm more than happy, to receive that feedback. And I know we got about 10 minutes left to the top of the hour, but are there any questions, comments, concerns after tonight's discussion? The floor is yours. If you want to unmute yourself, you can. If you want to post something into the chat, feel free. We got 10 minutes. So this is your time. Oh, come on. Y'all ain't got nothing. Oh, y'all ready to go eat dinner. That's what y'all doing. Y'all ready to go eat.
Well, I have a comment.
All right, go ahead.
My name is Asala Kimara. Sorry for being late, but that part that I did get was good. I mean, sometimes you've got to think about those things. And so I enjoyed it. And I thank you for saying that, because you do forget that. You go out and, or you get sad or happy or whatever you do, and you forget, about a budget unless you just don't have one. if you got it like that. But I thank you for saying that. And I apologize for being late, but I enjoyed everything you said. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. No apologies for being late. I believe the session is going to be recorded so people can take a look as frequent as they like. And you made it.
I did. Thank you. And where's that link to get the book?
In the chat. So if you check the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they put a link in there. I think you just click the link, and these are actually hard copies of the book. So I did 20. They're all signed, and you'll get like an actual hard copy of the book.
Wow! Congratulations for writing that book.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Now I have to get closer because I can't see.
Okay, now what I appreciated and I didn't know was the 24-hour mood, because I'm like, okay, what is that? And waiting 24 hours if you're still in that same mood, I'd never thought about that. But my spending, I get upset with it because when I spend money, I spend it on educational stuff. And I look around, I said, now I could see it if I had furniture and spent it on, I said, but I spend it on educational stuff. And I get upset with myself about that. But I thank you for this presentation. And I can go a little bit, another hour more or some more, because I appreciate this. I can't wait for what you have to say tomorrow.
Yeah. And Dorothy,
Go ahead.
With the education, because I've heard this before too. So as long as the education is being applied somewhere else in your life, that's all that I care. Right. Yes. There's not tangible stuff that you're investing in or putting your money into, but all this education, are we sharing it with somebody, folks we love? I have all this knowledge, but how good is it that I keep it in? So that's my only concern, that people who say, well, I don't have the physical items. Well, how are we applying the information that we're consuming? Where are we sharing it? And is it benefiting somebody else?
Yes.
That, I may not ever meet, or that I have met? Because that's where it kind of gets into that, ooh, I like reading these books, but like, is it just for my satisfaction? And maybe it is. So.
Mm-hmm. But the one thing I was in awe of was your mission statement.
Oh, you hit mute, Dorothy. You hit mute.
Those three words are powerful. And I thank you for the mission statement.
Oh, you're very welcome. And it came out of a conversation from some work I was doing last year for an organization, and it struck me. So that somebody had said, we're trying to like interrupt, and we're trying to, and they kept saying the three words, but not in that exact order. And I was like, hold on, I got something here. And I was like, there go the three. We got to disrupt generational. That's it.
Right. Yes.
And it starts there. And it starts with this kind of a conversation, because I don't think I shared anything that was like over anybody's head tonight. This is like the fundamentals. Like, this is the basics, this is what most people struggle with. I don't understand who I am and how I respond to stuff. And therefore I go do things financially that sometimes aren't in my best interest. That's how it happens.
Mhm.
You know, it happened with the client meeting earlier today. You know, she heard something and I was like, how does this fit in with your plan that we just talked about last month? She was like, oh yeah, you're right. Why are you, I mean, but you know, but the person was her father. And I was like, you know, no, I'm not saying, I didn't say this offensively, but I got her to say it. She was like, well, my dad is kind of old. I was like, my parents are too. So they think differently about money.
Mhm.
What they were exposed to in terms of just products is way different from now. Because we were talking about cryptocurrency and we were talking about savings. And you know, her dad's like, keep more in the bank. And I was like, why? And she didn't have a good answer. I said, so why are you taking advice from this standpoint? I'm the guy that knows about the money. And her dad's done okay, but I was like, he's not the expert. But we're influenced. Again, those influences affect what we do. I'm not saying people are right or wrong. They're just giving you their opinion because everybody's got one. Everybody's got an opinion. But if you lose money, they're not gonna say, oh, let me reimburse you for my opinion that you used. They're not saying that. So this stuff is this is where I wish more people would focus, but we don't want to do this work. We don't want to have this conversation. They just want to skip to the fun stuff that they see on the media and on social media. That's the nature of this world that we're in.
Hi,
Hello, hello.
I'm Anita. I'm like the other sister. I just saw the email. I was on another Zoom and I saw it and just clicked and came right in. My question is, well, I have a comment and a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you cover improving your credit score? I have a
Credit.
situation and an attitude because I thought I was doing well. I sold some property, paid off bills, and my credit score went down. And I was not pleased with that at all. I'm thinking, I've done, I just retired, and it's like now I don't have to worry about money. And my score went down, and I'm having a hard time getting it back up. I don't have a credit card, so I'm really like waiting and waiting. I'm trying to see like what kind of things should you have on your credit report that helps it go up. That's
Anita, we're tackling credit tomorrow. Are you coming tomorrow?
Okay.
Yeah. Are you coming tomorrow?
I guess I will. Yes, sir.
No, I need you to be there because I need you to bring this up.
Okay.
I got questions based on I already got questions that we don't have enough time for, but
okay.
Yes, I need you to come tomorrow. And if you're not there, it'll be from 6 to 7. If you're not there tomorrow, I'm gonna come find you. You got to come now. You have to come.
All right. I just thought I saw your outline, so I thought, did I miss that part? That's really why I jumped on. But the other thing is that I can't relate to the spending. Like I did emotional spending. When my father died, I spent money on clothes. And I went so long, it was like 3 months. I was off from work dealing with the grief, and it made me feel good. I'm going in, trying on stuff, putting it on layaway. And before I could pick up what's on layaway, I'm coming to make a payment. I'm getting something else. So finally, after about a month and a half, I told the store owner, because she knew me, I was like, please stop me. I said, my children and I are getting ready to be homeless. While you taking all my money and stuff just hung up in the closet for months, but it made me feel good. That was my therapy going through my grief. So yes, emotions can sometimes trigger wrong spending.
Thank you for sharing that, Anita. And that was the whole point of this whole session. We were trying to figure out like what else. I don't think we got to keep beating into people's head that you should have good credit, budget, invest, say like we know the usual topics that everybody always talks about in every single session, and we're still gonna revisit credit again tomorrow because again it's like if we can get past some of these things, which I think are part of that foundation, then we can only focus on the real fun stuff, the investments, the retirement, like all the other fun stuff you see. You could focus on that, but we're still down here of like, I don't have the basics down. But everybody I talk to for some reason wants to skip a step. That's the analogy I always give is I'm a runner. Like I've run marathons. And I was like, I didn't just wake up and run 26.2 miles. That would not have been the right thing to do. And so there was a level of like, all right, 5K, 10K, half, full. But I did a whole lot of 5Ks first. Like a lot. Like I want to make sure I can kill the 10K. Like there was a process. I'm not skipping that step and just training for 26 when I can't even run 3. So we do this with money. Again, this whole crypto thing in the last week, people who don't have any money want to invest all this money in some coin. And I was like, can y'all do everything else first and then come back? And they're not going to do it. Like it's the same to the same client I'm talking about with their dad. This was today. I was like, if you got this money that you're willing to put into cryptocurrency, I was like, have you maxed out your 401k through your job? She was like, no. I was like, so why? I use some colorful language. I was like, you pissing me off right now. I'm being nice for this session. But I was like, do you hear what you're saying? You're willing to go drop $10,000 in some crypto coin or cryptocurrency, and yet you haven't even maxed out your retirement account through your job. Tell me why this is a good decision today. And I sat there, I was like, And I put myself on mute and just kept doing this. I was like, Because again, if I'm not there to disrupt this way of thinking, she was gonna do it. Now, but what we did, I got her to max out her 401k. We did it on the spot. She logged in and I saw her enter the number. I said, you're gonna have a little bit less money in your paycheck. Congratulations, because your future self loves you even more for that move you just did. And then I was like, what else do we got to do? And we went through the list. And I said, the last thing I said, you know what? Because I'm nice and this ain't even my money. So you might not even take my record. I said, I'll give you $5,000 to play with. Because now I've seen that you've done everything else. And now you can do this cryptocurrency thing. So have fun. I'm not giving you advice on it. And that's how that was it. But if she doesn't have this conversation today with me, she probably goes and drops that $10,000 just because the world told her she should be doing it. And I was like, how does this fit into your plan? I ain't that great, y'all, as an advisor. All I'm doing is asking really simple questions that people cannot give me simple responses to. And if you can't acknowledge the emotional state that you're in, to Anita's point, like, yeah, grief spending, another big one. Whatever mood you're in, you're doing something that might not be in your best interest. Might not be. So I gave y'all 2 extra minutes because I love y'all and I love Occur. And we're gonna be back at it again tomorrow for credit. And so tomorrow, it's credit. So like there are the basics that we'll cover because I gotta get through them. And then we're gonna talk some strategy. And Anita, you better be there. And I don't care if you don't come on time, just you better be there or else I'm gonna be upset with you. I don't know who knows Anita. But we're gonna find you if you don't show up tomorrow.
Okay. I may not be able to stay long. I got to get to another meeting, but I'll come on.
All
Yes.
good. All good. Look, I will stop wherever I'm at to take your trust and believe. I will stop it. So,
Okay.
Yes. So with that, I will see all of you wonderful folks tomorrow. And tell a friend. So if everybody tells one other person, we double the people who show up tonight.
Okay.
If more than that come, great. But if we ask one more person to show up, we double the amount of people who would get the memo about credit.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
everybody. I will see you all tomorrow night.
All right.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jasper.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right, I'll see you. If you have any questions for me, definitely let me know.
Okay.
But thank you. Good, great job. Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot. All right. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.